It, but my brothers are as faithless as wadis, as seasonal streams that overflow. What does that mean? Well, first, let's even define what wadis is. Wadis is like I think I put it at a dry river bed that get filled up quickly when there is rain, and and the water during the water can dry up quickly, so it's very, very unreliable. Okay, it's very unreliable source of water, and that is what he's saying. So my brothers, who are the brothers? The brothers are the three friends, that they came to support him, but really they are, instead of supporting him, they ended up accusing him that he must have done something wrong for all of this to happen to him. So let's move right along, through Job's speech. He said, darkened because of the ice and the inflow of melting snow. So, as we can see, it's an image of water that is maybe clouded, you know, due to the presence of ice. You can't see through, especially when there is ice on the water. So, maybe in a way, it's probably talking to his friend, okay, because he really didn't know what is happening. Sometimes we put ourselves as a specialist that knows this, that knows that, but in the true sense, we are clueless. We do not know anything. Okay, we do not know anything. So, this book is a powerful book, the book of Job. It's really help to look into ourselves a lot of time. We do more harm in the name of comforting and supporting people that are going through stuff than good. I think the best thing sometimes is to remain, to intercede for them. And when you are there, just, your presence alone, you know, is enough. And if they will need you to say something or do something for them, so be it. But we have to be careful to start uh, talking. So we see where Job is going with this. In let's look at it. Verse 17 said, but when the hot weather arrives, the water disappears. So I'm reading from New Living Translation now. The brook vanishes in the heat. Okay, so we can see, we can pinpoint from the previous verse that is still referencing them, because it called them as a faithless wadis, his friends. So 18 reads, caravans turn aside from their route, they go into the wasteland and perish. And I'm just moving through it because basically it's giving a lot of metaphor to kind of uh, explain the kind of brothers that came to comfort him. So, um, verse 19 read, the caravans of Teman look for water, the travelers of Sheba hope to find it. And this is like deeply rooted in the Mid-Eastern culture. So for even for our generation today, these things uh, might not be easily known to some of us, except those that are really, really deep in the culture. So 20 said, they are confounded because they have hoped their arrival brings disappointed. So let's look at that for a minute. So confounded suggests that a deep sense of confusion, and disillusionment. So that is, they are delusional, Okay, so it's reflect the emotional state of Job's friend. So he's still talking about his brother here, and that's what we'll be talking about all along from all those the verses ahead. So he said the arrival brings disappointment. They have somebody who has lost his wealth, has lost his health, has lost his family, and your coming there has bring accusation. So it has not really bring anything comforting, but it brings disappointment. And that's what this verse is really trying to tell us. Let's look at 21. 21 read, "For now you are of no help. You see terror and you are afraid." And that's the bottom line. So at one point, we have to speak up. So we see Job speaking up here to his friend. Look, because at the end of verse 5, the friend actually directly accused Job. And now Job is like directly talking to them that, look, for now you are of no help. You see terror and you are afraid. You are not, you're supposed to be there to comfort, but you are not, you are not doing that. You're supposed to come to comfort, but you instead offer little or don't support. So I'm basically, uh, and that's what it is. So he said, you see terror. That is when they saw Job's situation. It's probably unheard of. Nobody has seen that. It's like a terror, and it scared them. What could have been the right thing to do? That is something that you don't even know. You have no experience. So, but I believe the culture of those days, it's like a poetic, you talk, I talk, you talk, I talk. It's more like a word of wisdom. And we can see that a lot of things that is said in the book of Job, we can find it in the book of Proverbs, even Isaiah, the book of Solomon. So a lot of those things are there. So I guess either cultural or something, but clearly their presence has not really helped Job. As a matter of fact, it has hurt him more. So we are looking at verse 22 now. Have I ever said, give me something, offer me a bribe from your wealth? So now it's directing to them. Okay, so these supposed to be friends, but clearly their presence has really bring more trouble and questions to 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 Job. And now, in his own defense, he has to question them if he has ever made demands of his friends. Okay, so so it's almost like Job is fighting back, and this is just one friend, so you have two more coming around. So I mean, this is the reality of life that we live in. So this book of Job is so real. It's so real because this is, I don't know if we get a chance to read the Pilgrim's Progress. It's a dramatic book that dramatize a kind of, the journey of Christian and what we go through. So it's like throughout the journey, it's always something coming up. Something is happening. Something is doing this, and until we get to the celestial gate. So when things happen, how do we handle it? When it happens to our neighbor, our brother, our sister, what is our stance? What kind of friend are we? Okay, so they already, this Eliphaz already pushed Job to this end now, and he said, you know, he's asking, have I ever said, give me something, offer me a bribe from your wealth, or deliver me from the adversary's hand, or redeem me from the hand of the ruthless. Okay, so that's between them. They already know themselves, and they could know that in a way Job is really trying to establish his righteous, well, I'm, that this is just whatever he's going through, he has not done anything. So verse 24 read, teach me and I will be silent. Help me understand how I have erred. And that's it. That's simple. That's it. So a man of agony, a man of pain, and they add more insult to the injury. So now he's pushing it back, he's fighting back. So, teach me if I don't know what to do. You correct me. So 25 read, how painful are honest words, but what does your argument prove? What does your argument prove? And that is the truth, and that's the bottom line. That is just the bottom line. All those words and talk and going on and on and on, what has it really proved? Okay, they don't know what's going on. They don't know why Job get to where he is. They probably know him that he's a wealthy man, he's a just man, he fear God, and they probably know that because they are friends, they are in the community. So, and now all this is happening. So he say, how painful are honest words, but what does your argument prove? So when you are the truth, when you're speaking truth hurts. People don't like to hear the truth. But in this case, it's more like an argument. And say, what does it really prove? You don't even know what I'm going through. You don't even have the understanding of it. That is direct to me. Amen. Let's look at 26. Do you intend to correct my words and treat as wind my cry of despair? Can they do that? Is it possible? I don't know. They are just speaking based on the background that in that era or that generation, in that setting, if you are going through, the righteous always get out of trouble. But the wicked, they are afflicted and this and that. But that is not true. If you look at the book of Hebrew, we talked about this before. A lot of righteous people, the hall of faith, not all of them see, they were not delivered. Some of them died, and they never attained it in this end part of the river. So that's what they are saying is not true. We're going to see this when we come towards the end, when God actually spoke to Job and correct his friends, that his friends, they are not representing God. Amen. 26 says, do you intend to correct my words and treat as wind my cry of despair? So we just went through that. So let's look at 27. It said, you could even cast lot for an orphan and batter away your friend. So these are metaphor or things that happen in that Middle Eastern that we probably might not really understand, but in a way it's just highlighting the extreme insensitivity and moral corruption of his friends. Okay, so basically that's what he said. They are so insensitive, they really don't see his pain, his agony. So that's, So let's look at 28. We're just trying to round this up now. What time do we have left? But now, please look at me. Will I lie to your face? So, this conversation is now one on one. You know, will I lie to your face? That is, for Job to actually say that, there is a credibility here. They probably know each other and know Job for his stance. And otherwise, Job probably, if Job is not credible and this and that, they probably told him more. He wouldn't even ask that kind of question. So, will I lie to your face? Let's look at 29. Reconsider, do not be unjust. Reconsider, for my righteousness is at stake. And that's simple. So that is, the friend have to change his mind, take his word back, whatever that he has said, that he has accused Job of, you know, to take it back, you know. So, like I said, this is centered on the wisdom literature mostly. So it might not necessarily apply. And the last verse, which we will be closing with, is verse 30. Is there iniquity on my tongue? Can my mouth not discern malice? So that really tells you where Job really stands. He's simply defending his integrity, and his righteousness in the face of his friends. So that being said, because of our time, we pause for today. We just finished chapter 6. God's willing, we'll pick it up from chapter 7 next week. So thank you all for joining us. Please like and share this video. As you share, we are doing the work of the kingdom for to the whole world. So, and the reward is for all of us. So it's not just me that is physically here teaching it, but when you share, you are actually spreading the good news. So God bless you as you do, and we all will have the same reward in heaven. God bless you.